The solar cycle is an 11-year cycle of magnetic change on the sun. It's primarily looked at in terms of sunspots. When you have the minimum number of sunspots, we call that solar minimum. Then you go through a period where there are more and more sunspots on the sun. You see them increasing the number, greater and greater as you go along, until after about 5 years after minimum, you have a maximum number of sunspots. A lot of change on the sun, a lot of evolution. Then after this maximum, it decreases again. You get less and less sunspots and you go back down to minimum. During maximum is when you have the most flares and the most magnetic activity. Another interesting thing seems to be associated with that is that the sun goes through an 11-year cycle, maximum, minimum, maximum, minimum. There were two periods that we know about back in the middle 1600s and early 1500s when this sunspot cycle seems to have stopped. As I say, there was no maximum, no minimum, just the sun was just sitting there. During those times, in northern Europe, there were mini ice ages. The climate on the Earth had changed, and northern Europe was colder during those times. We have no idea why that happened. We also have no idea what causes the sunspot cycle. We have an idea, we're beginning to get an idea of what causes sunspots in terms of the turbulence and the interface between the core of the sun, or the radiative zone we call it, and the convective zone, which is, say, about a third of the distance from the top. There seems to be a shear there, and there's turbulence as the sun rotates. The sun rotates at different velocities at that area, and that seems to cause the magnetic field. But why that changes with time, we have no idea at all.